Wildfires have become one of the most pressing environmental and social issues in the United States. Each year, they consume millions of acres of land, destroy homes, displace families, and leave behind scars on the landscape that can last for decades. While wildfires have always been a natural part of many American ecosystems, in recent decades they have grown larger, more destructive, and more frequent. Understanding where these fires occur, why they happen, and whether there is any connection with the country's volcanic regions helps to reveal the complex interplay between climate, human activity, and the natural environment. When we think of wildfires in the United States, California often comes first to mind. This state has suffered some of the largest and most devastating blazes in modern history. The combination of hot, dry summers, dense forests, sprawling suburbs built close to wilderness areas, and the infamous Santa Ana and Diablo winds creates conditions that allow small sparks to grow into unstoppable infernos. Fires like the Camp Fire of 2018, which destroyed the town of Paradise and killed 85 people, highlight the scale of devastation possible. Similarly, the 2020 wildfire season in California was unprecedented, with more than 4 million acres burning and an eerie orange sky hanging over San Francisco and other cities. Yet California is far from the only state deeply affected. In the Pacific Northwest, Oregon and Washington also endure frequent wildfires, particularly east of the Cascade Mountains, where the climate is drier. In 2020, Oregon experienced some of its worst fires in history, with entire communities reduced to ash and over 1 million acres burned. Washington state, too, has seen towns nearly wiped off the map. Further inland, states like Idaho, Montana, and Colorado suffer regular wildfire seasons, particularly in years when snowpack melts early and rainfall is scarce. Even Alaska, often imagined as a land of ice and snow, is highly vulnerable. During hot summers, especially in years when temperatures rise above average and permafrost thaws, vast stretches of boreal forest can ignite. In fact, some of the largest wildfires in U.S. history by land area have taken place in Alaska, burning millions of acres in a single season. To the south, Arizona and New Mexico are also prone to wildfires. These desert states may not have the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, but their scrublands, grasslands, and pine forests at higher elevations can catch fire quickly. In Arizona, fires like the Rodeo Chediski Fire of 2002 destroyed hundreds of homes and forced thousands to evacuate. Similarly, New Mexico has endured massive fires, including the Las Conchas Fire in 2011, which at that time was the largest in state history. Even Texas, particularly in its western and central regions, experiences devastating grassland fires, which spread quickly across dry rangeland during droughts. The reasons why these wildfires occur are varied and complex. Natural causes are significant, particularly lightning strikes, which can ignite dry forests or grasslands during thunderstorms. In states like Colorado, Montana, and Alaska, lightning is a common trigger, especially during summer storms when little rain falls, but abundant electrical activity is present. However, human causes are even more frequent. Carelessly discarded cigarettes, unattended campfires, sparks from power lines, and even intentional acts of arson contribute significantly to the annual tally of wildfires. In fact, studies suggest that the majority of wildfires in the United States result directly or indirectly from human activity. Climate plays a central role as well. Rising global temperatures have led to longer and more intense wildfire seasons. Where fires once occurred primarily in the summer months, they now begin earlier in the spring and extend later into the fall. Prolonged droughts dry out vegetation, turning trees, shrubs, and grass into tinder. Heat waves, increasingly common in the American West, add to the risk. Wind is another crucial factor. In California, the Santa Ana and Diablo winds can reach hurricane strength, pushing flames across highways and rivers, and even creating firestorms that leap from one neighborhood to another. In the Great Plains, steady winds can transform grass fires into walls of flame that move faster than a person can run. Another important factor is the buildup of fuel. For decades, U.S. forest management policy sought to suppress fires as quickly as possible. While this protected communities in the short term, it also allowed forests to become unnaturally dense. Dead trees, fallen branches, and thick underbrush accumulated, creating a massive store of fuel. When fires do ignite under such conditions, they burn hotter and spread faster than they might have in ecosystems allowed to burn naturally in smaller, less intense cycles. Now, many experts argue that prescribed burns, controlled fires set intentionally by forest managers, are necessary to reduce this dangerous buildup and restore healthier forest dynamics. When examining where the largest wildfires in U.S. history have occurred, Alaska frequently tops the list. Fires during the 2004 Alaska fire season burned more than 6.6 million acres, the most ever recorded in a single year for the state. In the lower 48 states, California dominates the record books. The August Complex Fire of 2020 became the largest in state history, consuming over 1 million acres across multiple counties. The Dixie Fire of 2021, meanwhile, destroyed entire towns, including Greenville, and became one of the most destructive fires ever recorded in the state. Oregon's 2020 Labor Day fires burned over 1 million acres and caused significant loss of life and property. These massive events underscore that the problem is not isolated to one region, but spans much of the country. The human toll of wildfires is staggering. Beyond the destruction of property, the smoke generated by these fires affects millions of people. Fine particulate matter in wildfire smoke penetrates deep into the lungs, aggravating asthma, chronic bronchitis, and heart conditions. During the 2020 wildfire season on the West Coast, air quality reached hazardous levels for weeks, forcing people indoors and creating public health crises. The economic cost is also immense, with billions of dollars spent annually on firefighting efforts, rebuilding, insurance claims, and disaster relief. Rural communities suffer long-term impacts as jobs vanish, homes remain unreconstructed for years, and residents struggle with trauma and displacement. The ecological effects are both destructive and, paradoxically, regenerative. Wildfires can obliterate habitats and kill wildlife in their path. Yet many ecosystems in North America evolved with fire as a natural process. Certain species of pine trees, for instance, have cones that only release seeds when exposed to intense heat. Grasses and shrubs often regenerate quickly after a blaze, benefiting from nutrient-rich ash. The challenge arises when fires grow too frequent or too intense due to human interference and climate change, disrupting natural cycles and preventing recovery. An interesting question is whether volcanoes and wildfires are connected. At first glance, both involve fire, heat, and destruction. Volcanic eruptions can certainly start wildfires when lava flows, ash, or hot debris ignite vegetation. For example, in Hawaii, when the Kilauea volcano erupts, lava often sets surrounding forests and grasslands aflame. In Alaska, eruptions from volcanoes along the Aleutian chain have been known to ignite local vegetation. However, in the continental United States, most major wildfires are not directly connected to volcanic activity. While volcanic regions like the Cascades in Washington, Oregon, and California do contain forests prone to fire, the blazes themselves are generally caused by the same combination of drought, wind, and human activity that drives fires elsewhere. In short, volcanoes can spark localized fires, but they are not a primary driver of the massive wildfire seasons that have become increasingly common. What volcanoes and wildfires do share, however, is a relationship with climate and ecosystems. Both are natural forces that shape landscapes. A volcanic eruption can create new land, enrich soil with minerals, and alter ecosystems for centuries. A wildfire can clear out old growth, recycle nutrients, and open up space for new life. In both cases, the immediate destruction is undeniable, but the long-term ecological role is also significant. Humans, however, experience these forces primarily as disasters, particularly when homes, towns, and infrastructure are in harm's way. Looking at the future, the trend lines are troubling. Climate change is expected to continue lengthening wildfire seasons and increasing the frequency of extreme fire weather. Population growth in fire-prone areas adds to the risk, as more people build homes in the so-called wildland-urban interface, where neighborhoods meet forests and grasslands. Power lines, vehicles, and other human infrastructure introduce ignition sources into areas that were once remote. Without significant changes in land management, energy infrastructure, and climate policy, experts warn that wildfires will continue to grow in scale and impact. At the same time, emerging innovations in firefighting techniques and technological advancements provide a measure of optimism in the face of increasingly severe wildfire seasons. Satellite monitoring systems, for instance, make it possible to detect fires at a very early stage, often before they spread beyond containment. This early warning capability allows firefighting teams to mobilize resources more efficiently and respond with greater speed. Drones have also become invaluable tools on the front lines, offering real-time aerial surveillance that gives firefighters a clearer understanding of fire behavior, movement, and potential threats to nearby communities. By capturing live data from above, drones reduce the risks faced by ground crews and improve the precision of firefighting strategies. In parallel, communities living in fire-prone areas are being urged to adopt fire-wise practices, proactive steps that can significantly reduce vulnerability to wildfires. These include maintaining defensible space around homes by clearing away dry brush and debris, choosing fire-resistant building materials when constructing or renovating houses, and implementing landscaping techniques that minimize flammable vegetation. Such measures not only protect individual properties, but also strengthen the overall resilience of neighborhoods against fast-moving flames. Governments, forestry agencies, and environmental organizations are likewise investing heavily in preventative measures. Prescribed or controlled burns, for example, are intentionally set under carefully managed conditions to reduce the dangerous buildup of fuel that has accumulated in forests over decades of fire suppression policies. Alongside this, forest thinning programs help to decrease tree density and remove deadwood, creating healthier ecosystems that are less susceptible to catastrophic fires. While none of these efforts can completely eliminate the threat of wildfires, they play a crucial role in making fire events more predictable, manageable, and less destructive. Taken together, these advancements represent a shift from purely reactive approaches toward a more comprehensive strategy that balances prevention, preparedness, and rapid response. By embracing both cutting-edge technology and time-tested land management practices, society has the opportunity not only to limit the devastation caused by wildfires, but also to build long-term resilience in landscapes and communities that will inevitably continue to live with fire. In reflecting on the history and present reality of wildfires in the United States, one must recognize both the inevitability and the urgency of the issue. Fires will always be part of the American landscape, particularly in the West. What has changed is their intensity and the level of human vulnerability. Understanding where wildfires occur, why they happen, and how they interact with other natural forces like volcanoes is crucial to developing strategies for living with them. It is a challenge that blends science, policy, and community resilience, and it is likely to remain one of the most pressing environmental challenges for decades to come.